Valheim fans, rejoice! There is a huge bug fix and quality of life patch incoming for everyone very soon. It's in PTB at the moment. I'm going to take you through the details, but also talk about what's happening with combat. One of the biggest changes incoming and one of the most requested things happening. It does look like it's going to be arriving soon. So for all that and the best and newest Valheim news, make sure you're subscribed for that and other survival games. Alright, geez, let's go! So Luma and Jonathan Smarters have been messing around with teasing us some new screenshots, showing off one of the old Draugr models. And no, I'm not talking about these guys. There actually was a prototype Draugr back in the day in Valheim, but they changed it pretty much just before its release. You can spawn them in the commands, and they basically act like dumb mannequins. They'll just stand there and take a few hits from you. I did manage to find a video or stream that I did showing these off when the Hearth and Home update hit, and these can still be spawned in now if you want to mess around, but they're great for actually testing out your weapons without you getting hit, as they show all the damage numbers. So it does look like the devs are using these guys once again, because they're weak and they don't want anything hitting them back, I guess, to show that, look at this, that is a hit from a different height. Now, to maybe newer Valheim fans or people that don't even realise, you try having a fight with any kind of enemy on elevated terrain and you're going to be hard done by. In actual fact, it's probably one of the worst features of Valheim, being really critical, that actually combat has to rely on you being on exactly the same level really. Otherwise you just don't connect, you don't hit enemies properly. That looks to be changing in a update in the future. Not sure if it's going to be this update that's in testing right now. I haven't actually jumped in to see, but I didn't see anything in the patch notes that says it would. But we'll go through it again just in case I missed it. But this could be something in the future for sure. A huge improvement on combat that'll open up so much in terms of abilities. You think of all the weapons that have quite wide area of effects, but they often are wasted when fighting enemies on slightly higher or slightly lower terrain. Now, I'm not saying you're going to be able to hit an enemy that's on the foundation and a wall piece above you, but that definitely looks like a big difference there if you really were to analyse it. And yeah, it's interesting they're using these old ones. Like I said, they probably just don't want any of the new mobs hitting them, because I'm pretty sure these guys don't do damage last time I spawned them in. So small, but really, really cool and hype feature for sure, improving. Yes, Jonathan Smarters, I got round to it eventually. Don't worry though, this video is not going to be 20 minutes long. I did tell him I was going to make a whole video about it. Okay, so the PTB is in use. It actually went live last week. I was kind of hoping to see maybe one more fix before I did a video, but it got to the end of the week and no more changes were happening. So I figured, you know what, I'm pretty much safe to talk about it. They might end up having this PTB live for weeks while they carry on adding small little improvements and adjustments. Most of it is about optimization for sure though. Usual disclaimer here, you can activate the PTB by going into betas on the game in Steam or by joining the Insider program on Xbox and choosing it there. So buckle in, I'm about to start regurgitating a bunch of tech speak. But the short answer is there. Optimizations for memory usage, bug fixes improvements, fixes to build pieces, and various Xbox improvements. Optimize asset bundles, reducing startup times by up to 75%, build size by up to 35%, and memory usage by 110 MB. Should also reduce the download size of future patches. Optimize UI rendering, improving FPS by 5 to 10% when CPU bound. Fix memory leak that occurred when generating subsequent new worlds. Change certain sound files to be loaded in background, reducing some specific lag spikes. Added a fix for movement to behave the same when holding down secondary attack while moving with the gamepad as on keyboard. Removed detailed particle systems from graphics settings and made the offset in the default. So I'm guessing that really was maybe taxing something. You think of all the ash and stuff that was falling in the ash lands, the embers and stuff. Game now allocates less memory and low execution time for certain types of input. Fix the bug that caused inaccurate collision detection between AoEs and characters in multiplayer scenarios, e.g. sometimes catching on fire even when not walking into the fire. Fix mouse being stuck down after naming a map pin with virtual keyboard. Improved chat message and sign compliance with platform privileges, parental controls and local block list. In-game player names are now shown in player lists for cross-network users as well. Reduce memory usage of profile pictures in player list. Fix the bug where tooltips in settings menu did not show up in game. Fix the frame that could occur when changing the permitted list. Asvin trophy icon now matches the colour of the actual trophy. Cooked Asvin tail and roasted crust pie no longer sparkles when attached to an item stand. Tweaked snap points of Ashwood State walls for better alignment. Tweaked snap points for Grouston walls 2x2 for better alignment. Grouston arches are now allowed to be placed in different orientations in the same position. Grouston roof corner no longer changes position when damaged. Black marble floor triangle and tip are no longer burnable. Fixed an issue that made some events able to trigger without their conditions being met. That's a huge amount of stuff going on there. Some of it, like I said, is just going to go over most people's heads. It does mine. Bottom line, it does seem like they're performing and making the game run just ever so slightly better. On Xbox and Microsoft Windows, you no longer need to restart to observe profile updates in the game. Added invite button to pause menu. Reduced network usage somewhat for functionality related to Xbox network. Gamepad association UI now reappears if the gamepad is disconnected and a keyboard and mouse is not connected, or if a gamepad input when no user is assigned to it. Reduce the risk of crashes. Chat messages can no longer be sent if text communication is disabled via system. Also shows a system UI pop-up telling users to change the setting if they want to chat. On the console, when starting the game for the first time, the game language is now auto-selected based on the console language. Character names are now filtered as UGC and receive chat messages and player list. Fix the bug that can make the game preview pop-up appear again after being dismissed. Reduce reserve space on Xbox console, reducing the disk usage by up to 1 GB. The game now prevents entering text or signs or renaming animals if UGC privilege is denied and shows resolve privilege UI in that case. So that's relating to, I'm guessing, parental controls and stuff like that maybe. So good stuff. Might not be as chunky like with content. Obviously, if you're expecting big updates from Valheim that add new stuff, then of course you're going to be waiting a while. We know we're getting at least one, maybe more updates before the Deep North hits, and of course that's going to be its 1.0 update. So they've got a lot to do to get the game in the kind of optimized state they want it for 1.0. So if you somehow missed this, the Voyage of Herva Bloodtooth gives us tiny little glimpses of what to expect in the Deep North when we arrive. You can see all the icebergs and everything else. And I've done a video analysing this, so has everyone else. It came out a couple of weeks ago now, or 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. But it is definitely something really interesting. And I kind of thought it was a bit early though, because if we're not getting Ashlands, if we're not going to get Deep North to end of the year, are they going to do this every 2 months, 3 months? Are we going to see more? But from my understanding is we may see the Adventures of Herva appearing on a much more regular basis, like once a month. I mean, they might end up taking a break from it. Maybe there's too much going on, but that is the plan, to show us some adventures. So really good stuff. Obviously, it was alluded to with the part 1. We're going to see more. So great stuff for Valheim incoming. And just a little side note for me, you only really see Valheim content when there's updates and content for me, like news or big updates and stuff. I have put a lot of time into the game, and I definitely need a bit of a refresh because it's been a while since I played properly. Last time was Ashlands and it kind of broke me. With the 1.0 on the horizon, I definitely want to get good again. So I am planning a proper revisit to Valheim, maybe from scratch. My schedule's packed at the moment, covering so many different games, lots of big survival and RPGs, but I'm looking at April to really get back into the game. Do some refresher guides, live streams mainly probably. And as the year's going to progress, I am going to start ramping up more and more Valheim content, getting ready for that 1.0 release so that you guys know you'll get a whole ton of guides from me, news and gameplay. So yeah, thanks a lot for sticking around. If you really are here only for Valheim content, don't watch anything else I do appreciate it. And I'll see you for hopefully some new fresh stuff soon.